All right, everyone. Today I'm here with my good friend Adam Duxter. Adam, how are you doing today?
Dude, doing really well. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Yeah, of course. Thanks for joining. So, Adam, he is currently working as a reporter in Wisconsin with the news station, just giving you your daily dose of news. I know that throughout your education, your background's in journalism and reporting and everything, but just give us a little rundown about kind of how you got to what you're doing and like what you're doing now.
Yeah, of course. So I work as a reporter for the CBS station in Madison, Wisconsin. And prior to that, I did 4 years of journalism school at the University of Missouri in Columbia, Missouri, where I just kind of did the basic type of school, but then also had some opportunities to do reporting on an NBC station there and contribute there. And prior to that, even when we were in high school together,
Yeah.
I was able to do newspaper and the radio station we had at our high school. So I've kind of always been doing something in this field for the better part of the last decade. So it's a lot of fun. And yeah, like
Yeah.
you said, I'm just bringing the people their daily dose of news at this point
Right.
here in southern Wisconsin.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I know that, just from following you and, keeping in touch, I see that you kind of have different stories about different things going on. Do you have like a specific like topic that you cover, or do you just kind of bounce back and forth on whatever's
Yeah,
going on?
so it's nice. I'm lucky enough to have a beat where I cover one county in particular here in southern Wisconsin. So I'm always looking for stories within that county. So it's a nice little rubric of what I'm trying to pull from. But in
Okay.
terms of the topics that I cover or just what I'm going to do on that particular day, it really does fluctuate in terms of what is happening. So again, just general assignment field reporting, but
Yeah.
some days it's something good, some days it's something bad, but it's always
Right.
something. It's always something, that's for sure.
Right. Okay. Now, when it comes to, I guess, just reporting in general, I mean, it's not something that I've had any personal experience with. Is it like, are you totally responsible in finding out like what your stories are and what you're reporting on, or like do you get like leads, or does the station like provide you with content, or do you have to kind of do that yourself?
No, dude, that's totally fine. And I think that it's funny because people definitely have misconceptions as to how the
Yeah.
job works. And I mean, you see that everywhere. Like, my wife Caroline and I were just watching a Hallmark movie where the person was a journalist and she was just like walking around all day, like looking for the scoop. And like,
Right.
and people think that's how it is. But
Yeah.
it's actually really structured. Every single day I come in, we have a morning meeting, and I kind of present ideas to management saying, hey, here's what I think is going on today. Sometimes there's something big that happens and you say, we need to follow up on this. Or sometimes there's a big meeting that night where something's going to get discussed or something's going to pass.
Gotcha.
It's some type of bill or committee thing.
Yeah.
So then you'll kind of say, hey, maybe we can preview that. But I would say that me being here in a bureau where I work, a lot of the responsibility is on me to find out what's going on and to
Okay.
present ideas as to what we should cover. But we do have people that work at our station that their whole responsibility is to just be in the know with what's going on and
Yeah.
assign reporters content just so we have everything covered for each day.
Okay. Yeah, that's you're right. I feel like we just like the people that aren't in the industry have this like this
Oh,
misconception that
oh yeah, for
like
sure. Like they
town
just yeah.
with a
They
notepad just trying. It's cool to kind of hear that insight and see how it actually works.
Yeah, for sure. I think that sometimes people think you just show up at a place and
Yeah.
then someone sets up a camera for you and you just start
Right.
talking. But in all reality, it's a lot of work and planning and
Yeah.
prep and just knowing who to call for certain things, but then also just really being aware of what is going on in the community at any day.
For sure. Yeah, and I'm sure, if something, it's like breaking news or something, having to have that like adaptability to go and, figure out what's going on and put together, well thought out, articulated story on it too.
Yeah, breaking news is my favorite, hands down, because
Okay.
you'll show up to a scene and you don't really know what's going on. You don't
Yeah.
know any of the details, and your job is to figure out the who, what, when, where, why, and then
Okay.
turn around and present it in a way that is both understandable, but then
Right.
also kind of captures the gravity of the situation.
For
And
sure.
you definitely get a little bit of a rush from going to a breaking news scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's very, very quick, fast paced, and you
Right.
have to, again, comprehend a lot of information and then turn around and present it in a way that's comprehensible very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And that does sound like it would be kind of like a rush of like, just high emotions, high energy. Like I have to figure this out right now. Probably I'm sure you probably want to be like one of the first news stations to report on things like
Mm-hmm.
that too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, and that's a rush too. We have like a digital aspect to what we do, and some of it is sending, a push alert. So you get like
Yeah.
you subscribe to our station,
Hmm.
and you have our app, and we send out, push alerts with breaking news on them. And let me tell you, dude, the feeling of sending out a push alert yourself, like when
Yeah.
you click the button and man, this is some good stuff, and
Yeah.
you click the button and then you see the notification pop up on your phone, but like
Right.
it's going to thousands of people at one
Yeah.
time. It's like, whoa.
Right. Yeah, no, that is awesome. At the same time, like I guess the other side of the coin, do you feel like there's a lot of like pressure on you to, I guess make sure that everything is as accurate as possible, or like do you feel like you can't make any mistakes, or that's like there's so many people listening, viewing your news, like do you feel that like pressure or anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely times where you are going to make mistakes, and
Right.
that's the biggest thing. And the big thing is to make sure, if you're going to present something on air, that it is factually true.
Hmm.
So the worst thing you could do is say something that is incorrect.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing that I'm focusing on, is my information correct, especially if it's something that is sensitive. If it's
Yeah.
sensitive information, you don't want to get that wrong. So
Right.
I think that that's kind of the big thing. But
Okay.
from there, you're thinking, I don't want to mess up.
Right.
I don't want to stumble on my words. I don't want
Right.
to, present the information in a way that doesn't make sense. So there's
Right.
there's there's a lot going on, but also knowing that, you will stumble from time to time, but
Right.
making sure that it's not a fact error, or
Right.
it's not something of that magnitude. So that's kind of the day to day, but you definitely, over time, you get more comfortable
Oh,
with
for sure.
what you're presenting.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I know you said going back to like our high school days, you spent a lot of time in journalism, and that's also what your degree was in. What made you want to go into like televised news? Like, has that always kind of been where you've seen yourself, or you know, how that happened for you?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to do journalism because I wasn't good at most other classes.
Okay.
Like you have a unique perspective because you were there in our algebra 2, a trig class, when
Right.
when we were more focused on, being goofballs and run around in the hallway and
Yeah.
just trying to talk to people in Swedish because we had a Swedish girl in our class.
Right.
You were more focused. I was more focused on that than actually
Right.
learning the math. But I thought it was cool to be able to use just the ability to communicate, and also the ability just to talk with other people, to turn that into a career possibly. And when I
Right.
went to Missouri, I thought my biggest goal was to be a sports broadcaster. I thought that
Right.
that was kind of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, but I kind of realized that I wasn't as in control of my dream and what I wanted to do as I thought I might be.
Okay.
And it just kind of worked itself out. I know that's not the best answer as to how I wound up in TV news, but
Right.
it's just kind of a series of events that led into one another. And I'm very glad that it worked out
Yeah.
this way instead of any other way, because I love what I do. But
Right.
it wasn't the goal that I had set out to when I got to college.
Right.
But when it came time to look for jobs, and I'd had those opportunities to work at the NBC station in college, and when it came time to look for jobs, it just was what I was most qualified for. And that is kind of how I ended up here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, definitely we had some pretty good times in high school.
Yeah,
Maybe not the most academic.
I was telling someone the other day in that class, in that algebra class, with I can't even remember the teacher's name now. Do you remember
Weber.
it,
Weber.
Mr. Weber? Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like
Um,
Steven Strasberg.
with Mr. Weber, there is a test where, or it was a quiz or something, and I did not
The
know the
partner,
answer.
is it the partner one?
It was not the partner one. No,
Okay.
those were brutal. No, it
Yeah.
was a test where there was one question where I didn't know the answer, and
Yeah.
I basically gave up halfway through trying to do the math. And I'm like, what's an answer that I can guess? So I just wrote down two, like just two
Okay.
as the answer.
Okay.
And it was right.
Yeah.
And it was right when I got so then he was like, I don't know how you got the right answer because you clearly didn't do any of the work, but you
Yeah.
still have the right answer. So I'm going to give you half credit. And that was like my biggest success in that class as a whole.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't know that story, but that's a
Yeah.
great story. No,
Yeah.
it's weird because I was actually talking to someone the other week or so. I don't even really remember what it was about, but the partner like quiz or exam or whatever came up because I just remember there's that one that it was like some unit that no one like felt good about. And we just walked in and he's like, "Hey guys, it's gonna be a partner quiz." So it was, I think, the only time that you and I like we worked together for it. And I just remember like we went to our library, like at their campus library, and we went to take it, and we just looked at the exam and it was so hard. And like we just like got destroyed by it. And then like as soon as we finished, we just kind of like we're in agreement. We're like, until you like totally fail something with someone, like there's no connection. That's like better than
Yeah.
that.
We did that together. You
Yeah.
know, that
That,
bonded
that
us
was like
forever.
that was like a pivotal moment in our high school friendship that where we
Yeah.
just like the bond was solidified there when we just like looked at it and we're like, what the heck are we reading right now?
Yeah, I was hoping that you had studied a little harder, and I'm sure you were hoping that I had studied a little harder, but
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I guess I don't know. Everyone always says like if it's a partner test, it's like always harder. But
yeah.
like I think I remember feeling,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I have no idea how we did on it. I think obviously we're doing all right now, so it didn't
We
stop
passed the
us.
class. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
passed the class. Like for the record, everyone, like we both passed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah,
Oh man,
math was never the strong
well,
suit.
yeah.
So that's how I
So
ended up here.
going back to, I guess, you know, what you're up to and everything, and in high school too. I know that you're involved with some sports, and being friends with you, we've talked a lot of sports, a lot of obscure Tigers, ex-Tigers
Hmm.
athletes
Hmm.
was one of our best pastimes. But you know, what if you could go into sports, like, is that what you'd want to do, like sports journalism or?
Yeah, I don't know at this point, man.
Okay.
I think that there was always the dream to do sports reporting in
Yeah.
some capacity, and it's just a field that is so competitive to
Oh,
begin
I'm
with,
sure.
and there's a lot of people that are willing to sacrifice kind of whatever it takes to get there. But I mean, it would be a dream to
Hmm.
do that, and I think that it would be something where my biggest reason for wanting to do something like that would just be because I have a heart for athletes, like you said, always being
Yeah.
involved in team sports and having a heart for guys and girls that do play sports,
Yeah.
but then also just having that ability to be relational with athletes
Yeah.
and to talk about things other than sports. I think that's kind of where my heart is at. But at this point, um, my biggest goal is just to prioritize things in my life that matter to me in terms
Hmm.
of do you want to prioritize your career, or do you want to prioritize having family or
Right.
doing that. So I think at this point, we're both very young, but I think
Yeah.
that it's just something where you have to work really really hard, and
Uh-huh.
then just kind of the result that plays out is whatever is meant to be.
Right.
And that's something I kind of have to tell myself every day, is just to really enjoy where I'm at, and really love the people that I'm
Yeah.
around, and love on them well. And realized that I'm not really in control of where I end up. And if you kind of have that mindset of working hard and accepting the outcome, I truly believe that, I'll end up where I'm supposed to be, whether that be doing
Right.
sports or continuing in news or something else entirely. So yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. But sports journalism would be a dream, but
Right.
it's not something where I want to maybe stray away from something else that could be planned for me. Who
For
knows?
sure.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the long and short of it.
Okay. Yeah, totally. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like Christian Yelich. I think there's like a mural, and
Yeah.
like, did you talk to like his parents or?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have had opportunities
Okay.
to
To kind of, yeah.
cover sports in some capacity. Being in southern Wisconsin, we really like the Badgers. We
Okay.
really like the Brewers, the Bucks, the Packers, which is brutal. Yeah,
Big Lions fan.
especially with the year the Lions are having. Packers fans have just had everything to say.
Right.
But when those teams succeed,
Yeah.
and I've been lucky enough the time that I've been here in Madison, they really have succeeded.
Oh
I've
yeah.
had some opportunities to participate in coverage of that. So the story you were referencing was in not the 2019 but the 2018 NLCS.
Right.
The Brewers made it all the way to Game 7 against the Dodgers,
Right.
and I was able to just find a couple of stories in Milwaukee. And there was one where I'd seen this guy painting this mural of Christian Yelich, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. This guy is really going all out. He was a art studio owner,
Okay.
and he was just taking up an entire side of a wall to
Yeah.
make this giant mural right in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. So I called him ahead of time and said, hey, I'd love to, be out there with you. He's got some finishing touches he was putting on, and ask you, what made you want to do this. So I'm out there interviewing him, and we're wrapping up the interview, and I got some video of him finishing up the mural, and I was just about ready to pack it up. And these two people came up to us, and they're like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, oh yeah, just give me a second. Sorry, I'm finishing up with this guy,
Yeah.
like talking about me.
Right.
And the people are like, oh, we're Christian Yelich's mom and dad. And he was like, oh, and I was like, oh, yeah. And they showed up, and it was so funny. They were like, yeah, Christian showed us that you were doing this mural, and he like sent us a picture, and he wanted to come say hi, but he had to go to work, like
Right.
talking about like going to Miller Park and getting
Right.
ready for Game 7 of the NLCS. He wanted to swing by, but we had to drop him off at work. And
That's great.
I was thinking, like, this was when I'd been working as a professional for only, let's see, this was only like 4 months at this point, so I'm still
Okay.
very, very fresh. And
Right.
I was like, I have to interview these guys. I have
Yeah.
to interview the parents, because that makes the whole story. And his mom was like, I don't know. I think we don't want to make this about ourselves or about Christian. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, people are interested. So then she agreed, and I interviewed him really quick. And she was like, oh, it's just been great to spend this time as a family during the playoffs and eat a lot of family dinners.
Yeah.
And I called my station after I was done, and I told them, what I had gotten, and they were very excited. They were like, that is great, and it turned out to be a
Great.
good story. So that was fun, and again, it's just cool opportunities like that
Yeah.
to have a chance to have some opportunities in sports, even though I technically am a news reporter. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like, sometimes you do get that kind of like best of both worlds opportunity where you can kind of like talk about the sports that you do have the passion for, just kind of organically, like they come up like that. And I'm sure kind of, your area in Wisconsin, like you said, is kind of I'd say it's a pretty booming place for sports right now. Like you
It
said,
really is,
the teams are
dude.
doing great.
I mean, think about it. They have the NBA MVP in
Yeah.
Giannis. They have one of the best players in professional football in Aaron Rodgers,
Yep.
even though not the biggest fan of him. And then they have one of the best players in baseball in Christian Yelich. So
Yeah.
it really has been an exciting time to be in Wisconsin and be a fan of Wisconsin sports.
Right.
And then just today, the Badgers found out they're going to the
Rose
Rose
Bowl,
Bowl.
yeah.
So again, that'll be exciting for them. And yeah, definitely, like you said, it's a bit of a booming time to be
Yeah,
a Wisconsin sports fan.
it is. It's I feel like they just have like that young kind of core on a lot of their teams. And I mean, obviously the Badgers are always going to be that young team, but well, who's the running back? It's
Jonathan
John Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's phenomenal. So he's been a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, Giannis just puts on a show every day. And
Oh,
I know Yelich
yeah.
had he had some injuries and stuff going on this past season,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
when he's healthy, the kid can play play like no other.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
for sure. And I think that when you also compare it to the state of sports in the city of Detroit,
Yeah,
anything is better than that.
yeah, that's
So,
fair.
so when you look at the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, and Red Wings, you're like, man, Wisconsin, they have some good sports teams,
Yeah,
don't they?
right. But hey, I mean, you're still a Detroit fan, right?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
without a doubt. I would never be able to stray away from doing that.
I mean, are any of the Wisconsin teams are they like your like do you? I mean, I don't want to say like do you support them or not because I'm sure you obviously support them, but I mean like would you consider them your teams now? Like in addition to the Detroit sports or
I don't think so.
okay,
I mean, I support them for sure, but I
yeah,
would never. And like the Brewers are easy to root for because they're in the National League, and the
right,
Tigers are in the American League. So it's not like they square up all too many times.
right,
The Pistons and Bucks are in the same division, so
right,
that's kind of tricky because the Pistons face up against Milwaukee so many times during the year.
right,
The Badgers and Michigan State are both in the Big Ten, and I like the Badgers because I
yeah,
consider Missouri to be my college team now. And then
okay,
I'd say the only one that's really hard to get behind is the Packers. And
yeah,
that's just because they play in the same division as the Lions
right,
and just have terrorized them through our entire lifetime.
yeah.
So yeah, that's the only one that makes it really challenging.
And I will go on the record real quick and say that you probably are the biggest Lions fan, like the most loyal Lions fan that I know.
Yeah. It's not an easy life,
Yeah.
but one day when they do win, and they do win in the playoffs, and they make it to the Super Bowl, and when they win the Super Bowl, it's going to be an incomparable feeling because we've stuck around this whole time.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah, you can't really get all into it, but there's just so many reasons to love the Lions,
Yeah,
and just to be proud of them. So. Even if they're winning or losing, I think that it just has so much to do with family and going
yeah,
to the games as a kid
for
and
sure.
really supporting them. So yeah, you can't not like the Lions,
Right.
but you can not like the Packers.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick and maybe let you bring out the sports reporting. But what's your take on the Lions? What's your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts about the draft coming up? What they should do? What they need to do to kind of be a winning team? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so they lost today, and the Falcons won. So the
Yep.
Lions now have the 5th pick if the draft were to be today, the season to end today.
Right.
And they really have a lot of needs.
Yeah.
They also had a bad draw this year, and they had a lot of injuries.
Hmm.
They lost their number one running back. Obviously, they lost Stafford. They lost a lot on the defensive side of the ball, whether it be on the defensive line or even in the secondary.
Right.
So they haven't had the best of luck. I'm glad they're bringing Patricia back for a 3rd year. I think he can be a successful head coach.
Okay.
I think that he has been put in a really challenging situation.
Yeah.
So I think Patricia and Quinn are a better fit than most think. I definitely think they need to bring in a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And kind of run it back next year. See, all our players are healthy. We get a new D coordinator,
Right.
and run it back with Patricia and Quinn and Darryl Bevel one more time. But it'll be interesting to see who they target in the draft,
Yeah.
because obviously everyone is hoping that they take for Chase Young,
Right.
and Chase Young could very well be the number one overall taken player.
Yeah.
There's no chance the Lions are getting the number one overall pick. So
Right.
if he's off the board, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But that's the Lions Super Bowl every year is draft day. So
Yeah.
it's the peak of excitement as a fan.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll definitely have their pick of the litter.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't take a tight end, I'd be very happy.
Yeah. We do kind of have that streak of taking tight ends.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
Hawk.
they-
I I think he could
Yeah.
be good. I think Hawkinson could be good, but
Yeah.
you know,
But again, just another injury that they've had
yeah,
this year that has just been so unfortunate and has
right,
hampered them. And they've all, they bring in Jesse James and they
right,
bring in a couple of other free agents that they hope would be impact players right away. And they
yeah,
have slowly started to find their fit, but it's taken time. So again, I'm glad they're bringing Patricia back. I think that calls to get rid of him and Quinn are kind of premature.
yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of the sports nerd in me, but I just get really blown away when I see people saying they should fire Bob Quinn
yeah,
because Quinn has been so good.
yeah,
I dare say good in his position to find players like Bo Scarborough or J.D. McKissick, like guys that aren't on other teams and are kind of available for everyone to pick up.
right.
And he's found them, plugged them into the Lions offensive system, and they've been productive.
Oh yeah,
So I think Quinn is not the issue at all.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely the future is only going to go up for
I
the
agree.
Lions, hopefully.
Yeah, no, definitely. We
Yeah.
as Lions fans, we tend to get the bad luck at times, whether it's injuries or calls. So yeah, I mean, I get how a lot of people want to blame Patricia, Quinn, whatever, but I think just give it some time. Dare I say, trust the process, and hopefully we'll get some better luck and just kind of get some more young players coming in with some high draft picks and build a good future for us.
Absolutely.
Awesome,
The
awesome.
other teams in Detroit,
Yeah,
they are the path is less clear.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but the Lions, I think they have a clear path.
I agree with that. Yeah. So, Adam, one thing that I've always liked and respected about you is I feel like you've always been really level-headed, and you've been very positive and upbeat person, very good energetic personality. I'm sure some of that probably has filtered into like your job and just like your career, just like you kind of have to have that optimism, and obviously you're coming on people's televisions, you have to bring that personality, that fire and passion for the job. Has that always just been how you are as a person, or is there like certain things that really just fuel you and get you excited about life, or talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think that or more than anything, I should say, my biggest goal at this point in my life is to encourage other people.
Okay.
And that looks different, and there's a lot of different ways you can do that.
Yeah.
But I think that if I have the ability to encourage someone in any way, that's kind of what I want to do. So that's where, I really try and keep that level of positivity and encouragement, because I think that there are times where anyone can feel down.
Yeah.
And there's times where people kind of need to hear that. And I think that how it relates to my job is just trying to stay positive,
Yeah.
trying to encourage my coworkers who, are in the same boat that I'm in. And there's days that are very difficult in this
Yeah.
job. And I think that sometimes it's just a matter of telling a coworker, hey, I think you did a great job with this, or I really admire this about you, or I think that, you have an amazing ability for XYZ. That's kind of where I'm at this point, is to try and just encourage people, because we're all in this together
Yeah.
in terms of, being alive
Right.
on a rock that's floating through space.
Right.
And I think that the more we can kind of focus on that,
Yeah.
the better off we are in the long run. So that's kind of where my heart's at this point for that. And it is something that sometimes comes natural, and it's
Yeah.
other times where you really need help from other people. And
Right.
I think that that's where I've got a solid group of a few people in my life, whether it be my family or my wife or um, anyone, that I try to pour as much into as I possibly can, but at
Yeah.
the same time, that pour into me, whether it be encouragement or
For sure.
love or anything. So that's kind of how I approach the situation.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that, you know, we we all have unique opportunities in life to influence people to positively help, impact, and things like that. So it's awesome to hear that you're really using your platform to try to inspire and help. And it's sometimes we get so caught up in life, we forget about the little things, like just that little encouragement or that little positive, words that you can give to like a coworker, friend, family member that maybe just hearing that's what they need to keep going, or to change their day and make it a better one for them. So it's awesome to hear that that's kind of like the same philosophy that you have.
And sometimes when I'm saying things to people, I'm really talking to myself. I'd say
Okay.
99% of times I am saying something, like if I'm tweeting out in the morning, like, let's have a great day,
Yeah.
let's love others and encourage others today. That is almost me talking to myself in a way, and
Okay.
trying to have that reminder. Because I think sometimes it's easy, if you do have that, kind of outlook,
Yeah,
even if you're talking to other people, it helps so much to make it natural for you,
for sure.
in terms of how you feel. So yeah, that's kind of how I approach the situation there.
Totally. And I mean, kind of building off that, we all have bad days. We all have, we're not in good moods, maybe some difficult things are going on in life. So I know you said you kind of will sometimes, by talking to others, you're talking to yourself. I mean,
Hmm.
are there certain things that you do to, kind of help with that? Like, do you have certain, I don't know, people you listen to, like on podcasts, or like books that you read that like help kind of with that mindset?
Mm. I think that I definitely fall into the trap because I can be such an emotional person,
Yeah.
to really wear my heart on my sleeve
Right.
and speak out of anger and speak out of frustration the same way that I speak out of love sometimes. So I think that for me, it's more so about limiting that. And if I'm going through a really frustrating time or an
Yeah.
angry time, or just things aren't working out, for whatever it may be, just to take a step back
Yeah.
and to kind of relax and put it in perspective. And I think that when I am going through a hard time, I really do rely on talking to those people that I
Yeah.
mentioned and that you just referenced, just to be honest with them and be open with them
Yeah.
and say, listen, this is what I'm going through. It's very difficult. Have you ever been through this before?
Right.
If so, was there something that you did that helped? Because again, it's just about being a collective and,
Yeah.
relying on one another in times like that. So that's kind of how I approach it. And, I'd say that, if I am going through a really hard time, just focusing on things that I like to do.
Hmm.
So whether that be, um, something as simple as just hanging out and watching some TV or listening to music,
Right.
or something more, like you've referenced, like writing,
Yeah.
or playing music, or something that really just helps you have that outlet there.
Yeah, totally. I think it's very important, to be able to channel that energy, or, those emotions, whether they're positive or negative emotions that you're going through, into something productive or something that you really love to do.
Hmm.
It helps. And it's a very kind of, it can be therapeutic. And also, like you said, sometimes it's hard for us as humans to want to ask for help, or to be vulnerable enough to admit that we're going through some hard times, or we're having some difficult times. So I think, like you said, it's important to reach out to that circle, and just kind of check in and say, hey, maybe it's a tough time for me, and just make sure that you're acknowledging it.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I've been very blessed is that, my wife Caroline is also a news reporter.
Right.
So that when I'm going through a really hard time at work, especially, if you're covering things that are just very challenging and
Yeah.
very dark, and, and,
Right.
and very, hard to process, she understands,
Yeah.
and we can kind of support and uplift each other in that way. And that's been very, very great, just to have her, in that capacity.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like you said, I mean, I even just like talking now, I wasn't even thinking like all of like the more serious, heavy topics that you probably have to cover, just to have someone that understands it because they're in the same industry, but someone that you can like debrief with, and, can relate to everything. I think that's
Mhm.
awesome that you guys have that, with your relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Because there are definitely days where it just takes everything out of you.
Yeah. Are you guys at the same station?
No, so we work for competing stations in Madison, which is
Okay.
great. Um, uh, but like I mentioned earlier, in our chat, I
Yeah.
kind of cover one specific area,
Right.
and she's more kind of all over.
Okay.
And so it's nice because we rarely overlap. So it's not like we struggle with talking shop. People
Right.
always ask. It's more so we feel separate enough, even though we're in the same market, to be able to talk freely with one another, and just support one another.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think so too.
Good, good. So I know kind of earlier you were saying, you just want to be, sounds like you're saying you really just want to be present in the moment, enjoying what you have going on, doing the best you can with your current role. But, do you have anything like, I don't know if we want to say like 5-year plan or just like specific achievements that you want to accomplish in the industry or just like with your job?
I'd say when I look at my future, I definitely have more of a prioritization for the kind of person I want to be
Okay.
and the things that I want to accomplish outside of work.
Yeah.
And I know that some people, it's good to have a goal to work towards.
Right.
But I think sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped up in that. And I
Yeah.
think ultimately you could almost sell yourself short as
Totally.
to what you could accomplish. And for me, when I look down the road, I think that my biggest goals are to one day start a family with my wife, and to be a dad, and maybe to be a little bit closer to family. But ultimately, whatever I end up doing, I know that that doesn't define me. And like
Yeah.
you said, it's just a platform
Right.
that you can use to do things that you really can't put a price on, like to love others and
Yeah.
encourage others, and to just figure out more about yourself. I know that's not really the best answer,
But no,
and
no, yeah, it's good.
I do have goals,
Right.
but I've never been a person to say, I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z,
Hmm.
because I'm always of the mindset that if you just keep your head down and you go at each day with the same mentality, like you will end up accomplishing those things
For sure.
in time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've never had that as kind of the goal.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love that. I feel like, especially people around our age or just people in our situation where we're just kind of recently out of school or just kind of like into that adult life, we get wrapped around like our career or what we're doing. And, at the end of
Hmm.
the day, like that, our job doesn't have to define us. I mean, I don't think it should. I see both ways though, both thoughts on that.
No,
But it doesn't have to. So like, it's great to have goals, kind of like you're saying, and I know I have professional goals too. But just to know that you're more than your job, and it's just kind of a vehicle or a platform, and it's important to take care of yourself and fulfill yourself in other ways too.
one thing that I really struggle with is I think that sometimes it's easy to look at what our friends are accomplishing
Yeah,
and be like, man, if only I was doing that,
yeah,
I would be so much happier. Or like, man, if I could, be doing what they're doing, then I could make this much money or
right.
that much money. Or like even not to, speak too much into it, but to be like, look at what someone's doing, say that, man, like what's wrong with me,
Yeah,
to where, what am I doing wrong
right.
to where I can't, achieve these same things. But ultimately, people are only sharing the highlights of their
Exactly.
life, and they're doing so in a very curated way,
Right.
to make themselves appear more presentable. And I think that it's easy to look at what people are doing and say like, wow, if only I had what they're doing. But
Right.
I can say, as someone who others would, even from a very small level, say like, wow, you found some sort of success,
Hmm.
that it's no matter what you do, you're going to feel those same feelings
Right.
of insecurity or doubt, or struggling with your self-worth.
Yeah.
So I think that it's super important to move away from uh, you know, identifying yourself, or to find your identity in what you do and more so who you are.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's good to have a job.
Yeah, I mean, we all should get a job, have a job.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You can't just be mooching off everybody.
right,
But I think that your job ultimately is not going to bring you joy,
right,
and that comes from within.
for sure. No, I love that. That was spot on. I mean, I feel the same way, and I think that was awesome to hear you articulate that. So thank you for that.
Of course, man.
Yeah. So, last thing I really want to get into is just, what would your advice be for someone who maybe is, I guess, is in a position where they're thinking maybe journalism or news or just something in that realm is their passion or what they want to do in the future. Do you have any advice on how, they can get there, or to see if it is kind of like the future for them or not?
Go to Mizzou. No. Yes, but just joking, but
Yeah.
somewhat serious. I'd say, if you think that journalism is your passion or writing is your passion, just find ways to do it as much as possible. And if I was talking to someone who is in high school,
Yeah.
I would say do as many things as you possibly can. So when you and I were in high school, podcasts weren't a thing,
Right.
but now kids that are 16, 17, they can do this.
Yeah.
So I would say diversify as much as you can. So if you want to do a podcast, do a podcast. If you want to be on the radio, do the radio. If
Yeah.
you want to do newspaper, do that. But just do as much as you can. And
Okay.
you might like something that you thought previously wasn't for you.
Right.
And there might be something that you had your heart set on that when you try it, you realize it's not as everything I thought it would be.
Right.
That would be one piece of advice, to, again, just do as much as you can. And then two would definitely be find a mentor within your field, or two
Okay.
mentors or three mentors, because journalism is such a small community and
Yeah.
reporting is such a small community, that everyone has been through similar struggles in terms of being at different points in their career.
Right.
And there's a couple of mentors that I have found through the course of being in college and doing a couple of internships, and even working as a young professional now.
Right.
And when I have something that I'm struggling with, I'll reach out to them. And they can really provide the context and let me know what is going on, and it just provide some clarity. So that would be my second piece of advice, is to, find a mentor. And then the third piece of advice is just to realize that we're all still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no one right way. There's no one right path.
Right.
And I would say, just be open, be honest, love on people, and come at it from a perspective of, you can't define your success in winning an award or, having your name published in the paper. It really is, finding what you love about it and focusing on that, is the biggest thing. So that's what I would say to someone if they were in high school right now. And we were so lucky to go to a high school where there were so many opportunities to do
definitely.
that. And man, now with podcasting and everything, and just the ability to market yourself and just have a presence and have a brand, who knows, kids now are going to be, just absolutely obliterating the game by the time they're like 19 years old, because there's so many avenues to succeed.
I know. Yeah. It's crazy to think about, even just like you said, when we were in high school, I mean, we weren't in the Stone Age by any means, but
No,
there wasn't, I mean, even social media wasn't at nearly as big as it is now. So, I mean, just like so much, content out there and ways to provide content. And like you said, just to kind of almost like build your resume, if you will, by all the things that you can do to provide, cross-platform content and things. It's crazy. So I'm excited to see what, the younger kids end up doing, and where all that success comes from.
Yeah, man. I mean, we were definitely not in the Stone Age, but I do remember, like, my first smartphone was like junior year of high school.
Right.
And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I can go on the internet, like on my, because I remember my first phone. Remember, like if you pressed one button on your phone, it would try and connect to the internet, and
Yeah,
you'd be like,
yeah,
no, 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 like,
yeah, yeah.
it
Because
was
then
like,
like your bill's gonna go up, and
yeah, yeah. How did we spend $6,000 on our? Oh, I was on the internet for 8 seconds.
yeah,
Sorry, yeah. So yeah, we kind of weren't in the Stone Age, but we
yeah,
we definitely grew through it,
yeah,
and now kids that are going through high school now have the ability to just really reap the rewards of that. So,
for sure.
so definitely, I think that's still a plus.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So I know that not everyone that's going to hear this is in Wisconsin, but even though that's the case, I think that you have some great content on your social media and stuff. Just like I said, positivity, uplifting, but also some good humor and stuff. Is there any place that people can find you, give you a shout or anything?
Yeah, so if you want to follow me on any platform, you can follow me on Twitter at news3, like the number Adam,
Okay.
is my Twitter handle. And then if you want to find me on Facebook, just Adam Duxter, and I'm there. And if there's anyone by happenstance that's listening to this that has a desire to go into a field of journalism or has any questions, I am definitely more than willing to help you out with that. So, if unless you just want to see my takes, then you can follow me as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's so cool to hear that you're willing to help those people. And who knows, maybe someone listening to this or that might hear this, someday will have you as a mentor since you talked about mentors being awesome.
Yeah, I hope so, man,
Yeah,
because the mentors that I've had have helped me out so much and continue
yeah,
to every day. So
awesome.
if anyone needs that, then I am more than willing to help with that.
I love it. And any way to can we catch your reports, like the news, like
Yeah,
online?
I mean,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, if you really have a strong desire to watch news from a community that you don't live in, then yeah, you can do that. And I share a bunch on my
Okay.
social media, so that's
Yeah.
that's probably the best way to do that. But if you ever are in South Central Wisconsin, tune into the CBS station, and that's where you'll find me working Tuesdays through Saturdays,
Okay.
and you'll catch my reports on there.
Awesome. Well, I know that I've seen some pretty good gems on your social media, especially your little zip line that you did
Oh,
like a couple months
yeah,
ago.
yeah, but yeah, again, definitely those are the fun ones, and I'll
Yeah.
I'll share the fun ones, and it's there's an opportunity every once in a while to do something cool like that. So that was a good time.
Awesome, man. Well, Adam, thank you so much for your time and just chatting with you. And it's been great to hear all the great things that you're doing, and I have no doubt that you'll keep it up. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for you.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. I'm still very humbled that you would think of me as someone that you'd want to bring on your podcast. And one day when you are hosting late night TV or you're the next Ellen, I'll come on and everyone will be like, "Who's this guy on TV with Zach Hose, the Zach Hose?" And I'll be like, "I don't know." So man, I appreciate you
Yeah,
having me on.
yeah. We'll teach him some Swedish.
Oh, yeah, dude. Let's go. I
All
just
right.
gotta learn it all again.
Right. Me
And,
too.
and then we'll be good. All
Right.
right, dude. Well,
Right. Awesome.
thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on.